In this video, I want to talk about why hangboarding isn't dangerous at all for any level of climbers, including beginners, and more beginners, simply because beginners are often told not to hangboard for a chance of a risk of injury. And without any particularly further ado, here we go. What is hangboarding though? As far as I'm concerned, hangboarding is just another regular exercise, specifically isometric. Isometric meaning the muscle/joint isn't flexing or extending, you are just tensing it in place. And just because it's your fingers doesn't make it special. And obviously hangboarding is done off of a hangboard. So why do people think hangboarding is dangerous? I'm not gonna lie. I think people think this simply because they've been told this ever since they can remember, and that's basically why it's dangerous. It's just a learned trait that's been regurgitated. And to be honest, I've never seen nor heard of anyone ever getting injured while hangboarding. And just between you and I, partner, the majority of finger related injuries in climbing, they all tend to start with, "So I was climbing," not "So I was hangboarding." So how come hangboarding isn't dangerous? Well, if you look at it from a very normal standpoint and stop putting it on a pedestal, you realize it's just an exercise. This means progressions exist and you can control the amount of load you use, progressive overload. Just like how when it comes to lifting weights, you can increase or decrease the weights you use depending on your level. The same thing applies for bodyweight movements. There are progressions. And I don't know about you, but the notion of assuming that if you can't do an exercise at a certain level, then you shouldn't do it at all is a bit ridiculous to me. That's like saying if you can't do at least 5 pull-ups, then you shouldn't do pull-ups at all. It's a tad bit gatekeepy, if you ask me. And of course the intentions are good because you don't want these ignorant beginners to get injured. But have you ever considered, instead of saying no, don't do it, how would you use all your magnificent wisdom to teach them how to hangboard in a safe manner? Keep in mind, hangboarding is not a special exercise. It's just like running, squatting, push-ups. The principle of progressive overload progressions applies to all exercise. So how would you hangboard safely as a beginner? Let me show you real quick. Use a half crimp, meaning keep your hands at a 90-degree angle. Choose a comfortable rung size. I recommend 20 to 25 millimeter edge. Keep your feet on the ground at all times. At all times, feet on the ground. Sink into your torso until your arms are relatively straight, but don't put any actual weight into your fingers just yet. Slightly elevate your chest and pull your shoulder blades down and back by pinching them together. Engage your arms by flexing them. And then you finally load your fingers by slowly sinking down. Feel free to position your feet however you like. They are on the ground so you can adjust how much weight you are placing on your fingers. And don't you find it just a tad bit funny? The contradiction between hangboarding is dangerous for beginners, but also beginners. You should try to climb very hard climbs. That also gives you the highest risk of injury. I'm just saying, given the options between the beginner guy and this beginner guy, who do you think is more likely to get injured? The guy who is doing a very controlled static exercise, or this guy over here jumping for holes and cutting feet on climbs that are way above his pay grade? And lastly, you might be wondering, should I hangboard then? Question mark. And the answer is yes. Yes, you should. Just don't be stupid. Okay? Don't be stupid. Hope you enjoyed the vid. Hope you learned something. And I'll see you next time, partner.